Okay, we're in good shape. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Costantino Lee, and I am the Marketing and Promotions Manager over at the Santa Barbara Independent. Thank you so much for joining us today for this week's Downtown Business Spotlight. In case you don't know, Downtown Business Spotlight is a program between Downtown Santa Barbara and the Santa Barbara Independent, where we interview different business owners throughout Santa Barbara, throughout downtown Santa Barbara. So in case you have missed other ones, they're all up online for you to view afterwards at independent.com/spotlight and also on downtownsb.org. We're recording this conversation, so if you want to share it with anyone afterwards, we encourage you to do so. And if you have any questions for our guest today, please put them below in the chat, and we will work them into the conversation. So with that, let's get started. Our host today is Robin Elander. Robin is the Executive Director of Downtown Santa Barbara, and I feel so lucky to host these conversations with her each week. So I will turn it over to Robin.
All right. Thank you so much, Emily. This has been a fun series, and we have the most fun guests on today, all talking about ocean adventures. So our first guest is Maddy Fossatti, who is the person who is always, or one of many probably, on the Land Shark. So we're going to hear a lot about that. Very excited about that. And then we have Greg Gorga, Executive Director for Santa Barbara Maritime Museum, and Skip Abed from the Santa Barbara Sailing Center. So welcome, everyone. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Very well. Really
Good.
well. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So I want to start off with you, Skip. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the role that you're in. I imagine you've been a sailor probably a good portion of your life, but just tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Sure, absolutely, Robin. Yeah, I started sailing around when I was 4 years old. I'm 48 now, and in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. My grandmother lived down on the Cape, and we would summer there and spend our time on Pleasant Bay, right near Chatham, and learned how to sail and fell in love with the sport. The independence of being all by myself on the water was something that I really always enjoyed and was drawn to. And over the years, our families had chartered boats throughout the Mediterranean, from Rhodes, Greece, along the Turkish shores, and I had great opportunities. My dad was in international oil business, and so we moved around a lot and lived in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So I had some great opportunities of sailing dhows on the Persian Gulf, and snorkeling and sailing throughout the Red Sea, which was really spectacular. And then jump forward to when I was a sophomore in high school. I went to Dunn School in Los Olivos, and right over the hill in the valley, and they had some great spring break opportunities, and you could go river rafting, rock climbing, sailing to the Channel Islands, and a variety of different trips that you could choose from. And I checked off the box sailing to the Channel Islands, and it was a flotilla of about 5 boats where we sailed off from Santa Barbara Harbor through the Santa Barbara Sailing Center. And I was on Peter Crane's boat, Possible Dream, a beautiful sloop that he had. And we sailed across to the Channel Islands. And I had sailed in various parts of the world, but I had never experienced anything like sailing at the Channel Islands. I mean, it is by far some of the most challenging and adventurous sailing that I've ever done anywhere on the planet. So I highly recommend it. If no one's been out there, you've got to do that. So we sailed out there and just fell in love with Santa Barbara and the Channel Islands. So after I graduated from high school, my dad really wanted me to get into finance. So I went and worked on Wall Street for a summer in New York City. And this is back in 1991. And after the end of the summer, they offered me a job at Cantor Fitzgerald up at the World Trade Center. And I went for an interview and met with them, and declined the position, and told my dad I was going to sailboat. Yeah, no. I told my dad I was going to move to Santa Barbara and get a job paying less than minimum wage at the Santa Barbara Sailing Center. And he kind of lost it pretty much, and ended up starting to work there. And after 6 weeks of working there for the previous owner, I was like, I gotta figure out a way to buy this business out. So it took about 8 years. And in 2000, on April Fool's Day, I purchased the Sailing Center, and been growing it ever since, and love it. So that's kind of a little bit of my sailing background, and how I got into the position that I'm in. So
Wow,
very
that
grateful
is
that.
such an interesting story, Skip. Wow, I'm
Thank
so
you.
thankful that you've been able to tell that with our viewers. And I want to hear all about the Sailing Center in a moment, but let's check in with our other guests and hear their backstory, and then we can learn about the business as it is. So Greg, tell us about you. What is your story?
So unlike Skip, I had like no maritime background at all. Grew up in New Jersey, was an English major in college, and then worked in the restaurant business pretty much up until about 20 years ago or so. Managed some big restaurants. I had a lot of management experience, which I utilize all the time here at the Maritime Museum. And then when I came to Santa Barbara in 2001, I'm a writer. I love writing, and I got a job as a grant writer for the Community Action Commission, a large social service nonprofit here in countywide. I do Head Start and senior nutrition, all sorts of things. And because I had that management experience in my 5 years there, I became the manager of planning and development there. And then the Maritime Museum needed a director of development, and that was kind of what I was doing at CAC. So I applied for that job and got it in 2007. February 2007, did that. And I had, again, no museum experience, no maritime experience. My dad was in the Coast Guard, and I used to run seafood restaurants. So that's kind of my
Close.
And so, and then after a year, they hired me as the executive director here. And it has, I come to learn a lot about our amazing and very wide and deep maritime history. And really everything I learned was here at the museum, from our exhibits, from our docents, from, we do the lectures every month, and just reading more information and meeting the people who made our maritime history. So that's what I love about my job is, my knowledge comes from, a lot of it comes from the people who actually lived the history here, which is always great.
Well, that is incredible. And I just want to share too that I actually met Greg through the Maritime Museum. So I'm an ex-employee there, and I got to learn so much about our kind of maritime history and the exhibits there. And so also had a lot of fun working with Greg. So very cool to learn your whole story. I don't think I knew all of that, but we'll come back and learn some more. So Maddy, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in the Seattle area, and it's very interesting. I was about 5 years old, and dating myself a little bit, my parents used to leave me alone on the beach on San Juan Island while they went fishing. I had the dogs with me, so I wasn't completely alone. And I remember seeing in my 5-year-old brain a Winnebago in the water. And then I saw it drive up on the beach and drive away. And when my parents came back, I said, you guys, I saw a floating Winnebago, and then it drove up on the beach and it drove away. And they said, sure you did. And a few years later, I realized that I saw an amphibious vehicle. And so now I work on an amphibious vehicle. So my background is actually in performance. I moved to Santa Barbara about 20 years ago, the lead singer in a band, and thinking I was going to pursue a career in stand-up comedy. So some of that worked out well, some of it not so much. The Land and Sea Tours, Landshark, has been in business for, we're in our 19th year, and I'm in my 8th year with the company. And it's been kind of a perfect combination for me as far as I get to perform, I get to meet new people, and I get to talk about Santa Barbara, which I absolutely love. And
because you're the tour guide on the mic,
I am,
right?
yes, I am one of the tour guides. And so I also have a background in music, and one of my jobs, or now kind of non-jobs, but hopefully that will pick back up in the fall is I am the brass coach for all of the elementary schools in Santa Barbara. That means I teach trumpet and trombone.
Okay.
So that's pretty fun. And when I first started that, there were 3 trombone players. And after I started teaching, in 2 weeks, there were 143. And since then, I've had over 1,000 students.
Oh my goodness.
So, and what's great about that is that I get to see them frequently when I'm working on the land shark. So that's been a lot of fun. You know, they know me as Miss Maddy, so we'll be going down the street and we'll hear Miss Maddy, Miss Maddy. So
That's
I
awesome.
get to see my students. So
I think
yeah,
actually
it's
my son's partner had you as a teacher, and she said that before too. She's like, "Oh, you're going to have Miss Maddy on the show." Yes.
yes, Miss Maddy. So I get to combine pretty much all the things that I love about my work and about my life in Santa Barbara. So I feel pretty fortunate.
Oh, that's so phenomenal. Well, it sounds like you all have created different ways to make the Santa Barbara dream come true. And so, Skip, tell us a little bit more about the Sailing Center, you know, how you grew it into what it is now and what people can do at the center.
Wow. Well, after buying the business on April Fool's Day from my boss, we just started to grow the fleet. You know, we started to buy more boats, and the model before I purchased the Sailing Center, we had a lot of other people's boats in our program where we were using their boats, renting them out, and then those owners would collect a fee, and we would offer them for our guests and club members. So you don't have to be a club member to sail with us. You could just come down and rent a boat. I really wanted to get away from that model. It was the boats that we were sometimes getting weren't at the caliber that I would like them at, and critiquing those with the owners was sometimes a difficult subject to have. They'd be like, well, my friend has had his boat for 25 years and he's never had to change a sail. Well, it's a little bit different in our environment. These boats go out almost every day of the year, and with a different person on it. So the wear and tear is definitely significantly more. So we started buying boats. Catalina are mostly the boats that we purchase, and the factory used to be right down in Woodland Hills. So it was an easy drive to go down there and check on the production of the boats, and design certain different elements that we wanted to see in the boats with their engineers, and have those boats custom made. So it was a lot of fun, and it was something I really enjoyed doing. So we started to grow the fleet in many different ways. In the small boat division, in the larger boat, our largest boat is up to 50 feet, and now we have quite a number of boats down there at the Sailing Center. Another area that we wanted to expand on that was just growing itself was kayaking, and then that's expanded into paddleboarding over the last several decades, and that's been a nice addition for people that aren't wanting to devote the commitment of learning how to sail to being able to get out and enjoy our open oceans in a simple, enjoyable fashion. So our kayaking launch ramp and our paddleboarding launch ramp is really phenomenal. We custom designed these floats that were designed for jet skis, to modify them to launch kayaks on. We have individuals that have disabilities, people in wheelchairs that are able to get down on our recycled plastic docks and not get splinters, and then kind of shimmy onto the kayak and go out and enjoy a day on the water. Same with the paddleboarding. You're just simply stepping from the dock right onto calm waters in our beautiful Santa Barbara Harbor and going for a nice paddle along our coastline. So that was been a nice addition to the Sailing Center. Our sailing school, we have grown quite a bit. We're probably the second largest sailing school in the nation, certifying people with the American Sailing Association. We've received Sailing School of the Year 2 years in a row that I'm really proud of. A couple of our instructors have received Instructor of the Year. So we have a phenomenal sailing school where we certify students all the time to go out and learn to sail, and they achieve a certification with the American Sailing Association. And this certification enables you to basically have a license to rent boats globally. You can take these boats and or this certification and go rent boats up in Seattle. I've sailed along Elliott's Bay, out of Ballard many times, and down in the Caribbean and Europe and what have you. And so it's a really nice global recognized certification, and each level, depending on what level you go to, lets you get on bigger and different size vessels. We also expanded in our kids sailing program. We have a great after school program all year long. And we also do a kids sailing camp and summer camp. So our summer camps start June 7th and run through August 16th. They're a week-long camp, Monday through Friday. And in the morning, we do paddleboarding and kayaking. And in the afternoon, we do sailing. And you could either do one or the other, or you can give us your child and have them spend a day with us, and a day on the water is a long day. So I guarantee they'll go home and pretty much hit the pillow right after dinner, after spending a day on the beautiful ocean here in Santa Barbara. The Double Dolphin is our 50-foot sailing catamaran, and the Double Dolphin has been around since 1984, 86, around that time when it was built down in Carpinteria. And it's gone through several phases and improvements over the year, and it's a beautiful catamaran. It's an open catamaran, so it's been a great platform lately with COVID and the parameters and restrictions that we've all had to be able to be outdoors on the water on this boat. It's licensed for 49 passengers with the United States Coast Guard, and we do a number of fun activities. We have our Sipping on the Sea that's kicking off with Folded Hills that we'll be doing every month. We have a different winery or brewery from Topa Topa to a variety of different great local yummy tasting beverages on board with the winemaker or the brew master on board, describing their beverages and serving them. It's a 21 and older cruise, but it's a great cruise to sail along the Pacific, catch a sunset, and enjoy some of Santa Barbara's lovely libations. Also, we've expanded into kind of the higher end market, where we are taking somewhat of the older model of what the previous company did with other people's boats, and we've introduced kind of a luxury yachting program to Santa Barbara, which is something that is desperately needed in Santa Barbara. We have a lot of clientele and guests that visit to Santa Barbara, that live in Santa Barbara, that really want to have that private experience to be able to go out to the islands in a day or a half a day and get back, or just sail down along our coastline in some beautiful boats. So we have some beautiful boats that we are offering. We have some new boats coming online in the very near future that are going to be a nice addition to cater to that clientele. We also work with the beautiful large catamaran. It was the world's largest catamaran that Charlie Munger, the vice president of Berkshire Hathaway, he owns those small mom and pop companies like NetJets and Costco and Wells Fargo, what have you. And he donated that beautiful amphitheater right behind Greg Gorga there, the Munger Theater in the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum. But a local fan of Santa Barbara, Mr. Munger has been a great supporter of our community, our university, and we are very fortunate to have the opportunity to charter out his catamaran through the Santa Barbara Sailing Center and load the guests, many guests that enjoy their time at sea on that luxury 85-foot catamaran that he built down in Florida. So other than that, some of our other things I'm looking at, we just expanded I got some notes here, so I'm cheating a little bit, but we've created a dining program as well. We've teamed up with a couple of different restaurants. One of all of our local favorite restaurants, Lokita, part of the Acme company, and where the chef of Lokita will come down onto the boat and prepare a meal for your guests, up to 6 people. And you can enjoy a wonderful meal that's prepared by the chef personally by right on board, where you're able to enjoy the food on the boat in the harbor, and then after that, the chef kind of exits, and then your captain will take you out for a little sail along the coastline. So those are some other fun things that we've been doing. Starting Memorial Day weekend, which is right around the corner, we have every Friday night, we have music on the water aboard the Double Dolphin, where we have a different band or sometimes DJ that we have as we enjoy some live music sailing down the coastline and catch the sunset, and that's some other fun ways that we do some other activities. We teamed up with downtown favorite B-Cycle, which is an amazing program, Robin. I'm so happy to see these little stations of bikes popping up all over in your neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
And slowly we're hoping to get them down at the waterfront, which is it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's such a great activity for Santa Barbara. We're such a wonderful biking community. The way that you've designed State Street and modified State Street is something that I've been hoping and dreaming for decades. I mean, and hopefully it stays. I
hope so too. Very exciting right now with the new energy going on.
Yeah, so I'm sorry the land shark can't cruise down State Street right now. I know that was one of your routes, but you get some great Chapala, Anacapa, fabulous streets for the land shark to still enjoy and catching the courthouse or what have you. But yeah, no, the B-Cycle, we teamed up with a program with them where we're able to package their monthly membership and our paddle membership, which is, it's such a great combination where you can just, cool. you can have an unlimited usage of their bikes, unlimited usage of paddle boards and kayaks for a monthly fee. And you can get out from sunrise to sunset and enjoy paddleboarding or kayaking anytime you want at the Santa Barbara Sailing Center. You can get there in our beautiful green community that we love so much on B-Cycle. So Jesse has done a great job expanding this throughout our town. I want to see him on Coast Village Road. I want to see him on Upper State and maybe out here in Goleta where I live would be a really nice expansion for what I think is a really nice model for Santa Barbara. It says Santa Barbara all over it. So
I love that you're partnering with them, and I love all of the innovative, creative programming that you're offering. I mean, that is really diverse. You're catering to so many different people and their interests and just adding more things over time. That's so special. And I'm sure that some of those innovations this year must have been so important to like be able to kind of pull in and navigate, you know, this unique moment in time we're in. But with sailing, you've probably been able to mostly continue to operate the whole time. Is that true?
Yeah, we've been well, I mean, we were closed for 2 months and 2 days when we were all forced to just shut our doors when government was trying to get a handle on what was going on. And
sure.
But once we were open, we had put in so many things in place to be prepared for reopening. You know, our paddle boards and kayaks, I built this large 10-foot, looks like a coffin, but it's not, it's just a big vat to sterilize all the paddles, the life jackets and what have you, and the seats. So we go through, you know, it's and we clean down, wipe down the boats, the Double Dolphin in between every charter, all of our private charters. So we haven't allowed anyone to come into the office, so we closed that off. But with new technology, we signed on with a great program, point of sale program, Peak Pro, which has taken our whole company and put it online. Right. So if it's a QR code, if it's waivers, if it's all of that functionality that you need to do, you're able to just do it with your smartphone and scan it, pay for it, and process it. So it streamlines a lot of, you know, I'm hearing a lot of silver linings through this whole pandemic. I know we're all done with everything. I guess if we're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, we can now take off the masks in public, I heard today, which is great news. But we're slowly getting to that point where we're going to have some normalcy. But we've learned some things through all of these different struggles that we've had in Santa Barbara. I mean, we've been through, debris flows and fires and economic
We've learned so
downturns.
much.
And that's one thing about our community, Robin and Emily. We're very resilient. We're hardworking. We're dedicated. We care so much about our community. The locals come out in ways that just kind of get me choked up all the time. It just, they want to support you. They care. The emails that we've received over the past months. How you doing? How can we help? We can't wait till you're open. I mean, all these things. It means so much, and it's really so appreciative that we have that support from our local community, and then it just kind of spills over. I mean, the Europeans they're going to come back. They want to come back. California, despite everything that California has, we have a lot of good things going on here in California.
Absolutely. So
and
true.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Skip. That's really amazing stuff you're talking about. Thanks for all your contributing to Santa Barbara and teaching so many kids, families, and adults how to sail. Wow, what a special experience. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more to you, but thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, Greg, tell us more about the Maritime Museum. What can people experience there? Tell us a little bit about, maybe some fun facts of history that people might not know about.
So first of all, though, I got to say I'm very jealous of Skip and Maddy, because I know Skip gets out on the water more than I do, and Maddy's basically out there almost every day. And also, they've been very good to the Maritime Museum. So you do have to get out on the Double Dolphin. We just put 2 groups from the city of Santa Barbara Parks and Rec out on the water on the Double Dolphin. They had an amazing time. One of them didn't see as much marine life, but one group saw sea lions, dolphins, humpbacks, a mula sunfish. And I know Maddy's always telling people about the Maritime Museum, because I hear her when they're going through the harbor. So thank you to both of you. So the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum started in July of 2000. We are in the old waterfront center building, which was the Navy Training Center during World War II, Navy Reserve building. So perfect for us because it has a maritime history. What I love about the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum is we take such a wide view of our maritime history. It's not just ships and some artwork, and we have such a rich history. So kind of behind me is our pride and joy. That's the Point Conception First Order Fresnel lens. If you haven't seen that, that's worth a visit right there. 18 feet tall, built in 1854 in Paris, France, and saved thousands of lives, I believe, off Point Conception, the most dangerous waters on the West Coast. Skip talked about how challenging these waters are. Right above Point Arguello and Point Conception in 1923, 7 Navy destroyers crashed in 5 minutes. 23 sailors lost. That is the largest naval disaster during peacetime in U.S. history. We have an amazing exhibit about that, including video and interviews with the last living survivor. And then, of course, we have, I think you can see it in the photo there, maybe not, a model of the F-1 seaplane by 2 brothers built here in Santa Barbara. Later, their company was known as Lockheed Martin, and Jack Northrop was the engineer of that. We have some great surfing history here, other shipwrecks, underwater navigation, and we're the home of the West Coast home for the Historical Diving Society, a big diving history, commercial diving, especially here in Santa Barbara, oil history here, the 1969 oil spill. And of course, it all starts thousands of years ago with the Chumash and their very unique plank canoes, the Tamal, and we have a replica of one of those that starts right off in our historic path. So their history is just amazing because those Tamals were amazing pieces of navigation. And so lots of exhibits right now. We have a traveling exhibit. We're one of only 10 museums in the United States to have it. It's called Arthur Beaumont, Art of the Sea, and it's 53 paintings, mostly watercolors of naval art. He was the official artist for the U.S. Navy during World War II. Also the first artist to paint a mushroom cloud. He was at the atomic bomb test in 1946 in the Bikini Atoll. He was the first artist to paint from both the North and South Pole, painted California missions, California coastline. So an amazing and historic collection of paintings by him. And in June, we'll have late June, the Surf Heritage. It's surfboards by a good friend of the Maritime Museum, surf legend shaper Rennie Yater. Chris Ansel has textured them so they look like they're from the 50s and 60s. And then an artist named John Comer has painted classic California surf spots onto the boards, and it tells all about the history in California of surfing. So that'll be running through October 30th and start June 24th. And then really, we are an educational institution. So, you know, we like to say no child left ashore. And Skip helps with that. And so we've been bringing a tall ship up from the Ocean Institute since 2001.
That are so incredible too.
Fourth graders read an abridged version of 2 Years Before the Mast by Richard Henry Dana and spend the night on the ship, living the life of an 1830 sailor. We now been working with two of the fishing boats here in town, the Stardust and the Coral Sea from Sea Landing. And generally, not pre-COVID, in January, February, we put kids out on the water for a couple of hours. They become hands-on marine scientists. They collect marine life, get to touch it, feel it, put it back in the water, learn about the ocean food web, and what happens when you lose one species, how it affects others, and lots of other education programs. We have a program called Love Letters to the Sea, where kids learn about the dangers of plastics in our ocean and learn letter writing skills. As why do we need to keep our oceans clean. We just pioneered a program right before COVID called Maritime on the Move, where we took 160 sixth graders in Carpinteria and let them explore their own backyard. So they got to see seal rookeries and count pups, got to see the natural tar seeps there. They got to dig up sand crabs in the beach, and they got to explore the salt marsh with naturalists the whole way. So we really wanted them to explore their own backyard. Now that program and programs for the Santa Barbara Harbor and also Flaco Lake in North County are on our website. They're available in English and Spanish. So families, teachers can do that program on their own, because we really want to get kids outside, away from their Zoom screens, and explore our rich, natural environment here that includes our maritime history. And then other education programs, we're out at schools all the time doing science night. We had just done navigation right before COVID started. We've done lighthouses with the kids and all sorts of different other programs. Of course, we're doing tours. We had a group from the rescue mission in today. We are always, looking to do more with our youth and get them here in the museum or out on the water. And we have a treasure hunt, of course, in the museum. We have another one online for the harbor, so you can explore the harbor in many different ways. So we've been busy. I have to say, I want to give a shout out to our staff, because they have been incredible during COVID. We do the monthly lectures, which is a great way to explore the museum. We kind of paused that when COVID first started, but they were really great at getting us online and doing that via Zoom, which really opens those talks up to people anywhere in the world. So we do those the third Thursday of each month. And next week, we have 3 gentlemen who used to work for Maripro out on Santa Cruz Island during the Cold War, was the Santa Cruz Acoustic Range Facility. We now have an exhibit about that, top secret stuff being done for the Navy, including getting the acoustic signature for all the US Navy ships. So what they're going to tell us about is not top secret, because they can only tell you so much, but the Navy was doing a lot of research out there during the Cold War. And so that's next Thursday's lecture. And we do record those. They are up on our website all the time. And then in June, I think we have Harry Rabin, local videographer, filmmaker, who's been very active with Heal the Ocean on the capping of the oil wells in Summerlin that were still leaking from decades ago. So that'll be our June talk.
And are your talks all still online, or are some of them in person? We had a question come up from someone if you can go in person.
Eventually we'll do a hybrid, so we'll have you in person and Zoom, because the great thing about Zoom is not only can you watch it from anywhere, we are, again, the staff's like, we should do this. We had an opportunity to be the premiere of a film for Santa Barbara premiere of She is the Ocean, It was a film about 9 different women and their love of the ocean. And so when we showed that in, I think, November, we did a panel discussion with Holly Loheis, who's one of our naturalists and is consultant on our education programs. We work with a lot with her. So she was on a panel discussion, but we had a young 19-year-old girl now. She was 13 when the movie was started being made, professional surfer. She was in Bali and we were interviewing her. And then the film director was in Moscow at like 4 o'clock in the morning time for her.
Wow.
Panel discussion with everybody. It was great.
Oh, that's incredible. Tell us about how things have been for you and the staff at the museum during the pandemic. I know that probably a portion of the time or quite a lot of the time you haven't been able to be open, but these are really innovative programs that you've still been able to put on. What was that all like?
So, I am an optimist. So when we closed our doors on March 13th, our sign said, we'll be back open March 27th.
We all, right?
We actually did not open again until we were closed, I think, 370 days. So we just reopened in mid-March.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a long haul, but we are back open Thursdays through Sundays, 10 to 5. And then June 7th, we'll start opening Mondays and Tuesdays back to our normal schedule, just closed Wednesdays. Again, the staff were incredible. And I was never a fan of working from home. We did send everybody home and they got a lot more done because they didn't have to listen to me probably sometimes. We start a curator's log, which is a deeper dive into some of our history. I did a tour with Brent Sumner of Studio 8 of all the exhibits that you can watch online. We started a deeper dive series. So when we did do a lecture or an exhibit, we talked to the speakers and did a deeper interest in that, more information. So you can access those on the website. We did a weekly updates, emails, and then a monthly currents newsletter online. So they've been incredible. And like, I don't do any of this, right? I just take the credit for it. The staff are all getting the work done. So yeah, they've been great, and the supporters, our board members and our donors have been great during COVID. So that's been helpful. We were able to get the PPP loans, so we kept a lot of people on. We just had to lay off our store staff and admission staff for a while, but they're back. So it's been a challenge for sure. But the first day we opened, we had 2 women with 2 young kids in the door, and it was so nice to hear children.
Oh, that's great.
We've been busy ever since, so it's been nice. We're fortunate. It's a big museum. Our capacity is well over 500. So even at 25% admission, we can get over 100 people in at a time. We will start doing the lectures in person and some other public events, and we are able to do events outside. And we're also, so we've always had this Navigator Circle, which is our $1,000 and above annual member donors that support the operating support of the museum, because it is costly to keep the museum open. And now we put all new furniture out on our beautiful patio that overlooks the harbor and the ocean. And so we're starting to do some special events for our Navigator Circle members, like a happy hour on Thursdays featuring Cutler Spirits and a few other things. That'll start every Thursday in June. We'll have a food truck come in when we do the lectures, so you can have some food right before you come in for the lecture once we do that in person. And lots of other things planned for our Navigator Circles members especially. So great time to renew your membership at the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that's so many amazing things that you're offering for the community, for the kiddos, for families, for people who just are curious to learn more. And it's amazing that you've been able to keep pushing that out, pushing all of that beautiful stuff out and attract new audiences from around the world. Like, that is some great silver lining. So wonderful. Do you still need volunteers at the museum?
Well, you are one. You remembered your job when you were working here. Yes, of course. We always need volunteers. We have that 4th floor visitor center, best view in Santa Barbara, where it's a collaboration between the City of Santa Barbara, who owns our building, the Maritime Museum, Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, and Channel Islands National Park. So we get visitors normally from all over the world because it is in the National Park Passport book. They get a stamp there. So we're always
really interesting.
And our ranger, our 104-year-old sport fishing yacht, also has a volunteer crew. And then docents, we're actually doing a docent training starting June 12th. So you'll learn everything you want to know about the rich history in Santa Barbara. So you can sign up for that on our website, sbmm.org. It's, I think, a 10-week training program on Saturday mornings. So that starts June 12th. And yeah, we're always looking for volunteers and docents especially. And I also want to mention, we did not slow down. We completed a 5-year strategic plan during COVID, and the American Alliance of Museums, AAM, kind of the national standard for museums across the country. We are in the final stages of about a 3.5-year process to be accredited by them, which means you're following the best practices for a museum. There's over 33,000 museums in the United States, and less than 1,200 are accredited. Several here in Santa Barbara, like the Natural History Museum, the Botanic Gardens, the museum at UCSB, I believe the Art Museum. We are very excited. We'll find out in a couple of months, our fingers crossed, whether we will be accredited by AAM.
Oh, wow. Fingers crossed for you and all of the team there at the Maritime Museum. Thanks for all of your doing. Let's come back to you in a few moments. Maddy, tell us a little bit more about this incredible thing called the land shark.
The land shark. Well, it is an awful lot of fun. I have to say, it's really a privilege and a pleasure, and it's a great gig. So it was, a little tough during shutdown. We did shut down for more than 4 months. And the good part about that is we were able to really get the vehicles into tip-top shape, and they're super clean. Even pre-pandemic, we were very, very conscientious about keeping the vehicles clean and safe. And so we had a lot of those Lysol wipes, even pre-pandemic.
I'm sure most people know what the land shark is, but for those people who are either new to town or watching from outside of the area, tell people what the land shark is.
So it is a land and sea tour. It is an amphibious vehicle. We actually have 2 vehicles now. And so we do a tour of Santa Barbara. And yes, we do miss being able to go up and down State Street a little bit, but as we've all done, we have adapted. And it's a very, very fun, educational, and accessible tour of Santa Barbara, historic buildings. We've added a lot of the Jeff Shelton designs. So we can, and it's just been really, it's just such a fun tour of the city. And you get to see really all the highlights. We go through the Funk Zone, we go around the courthouse and see the Presidio and the historic adobes, through the train station, see the big tree. And so it's a great way for people to really see Santa Barbara from that nice 8 feet, above the ground view. And it's not a duck, by the way. Some people think it's a duck. It's not a converted military vehicle. It's actually built for tourism. It's very comfortable and very safe and very fun. And then we go into the water at the boat launch right next to the sailing center. And we get to go right by the Maritime Museum. And one of the things that Skip was reminding me is how much I love being out on the water, and we see the double dolphin all the time, and the different sailboats. And frequently double dolphin will spot, a whale or dolphins, and they'll let us know, and vice versa. And it's just really, really a great time. And I encourage anyone, especially locals, if you have not taken the tour, it's a great, affordable, fun. It's about 90 minutes, and it's just a great way to see Santa Barbara. Kids love it. And I just can't say enough good things about it. It's so much fun. And we also are available for private parties, which some of you may have seen going around town. We do some crazy ones for sure, but it's also a great way to see Santa Barbara if you have friends coming from out of town for a wedding, or family members visiting. And if you did want to have, more of a private tour, both vehicles are available. And again, it's a lot of fun. You can do a narrated private tour, or you can just play music and bring food and drinks on board and cruise around town and go out on the water. And of course, there's nothing like Santa Barbara from the sea. It's
So
just the
true.
best.
I can't believe it, but I actually have not been on the land.
I
yet.
see.
I
You
have
gotta come
always
on.
wanted to do it, and it just is one of those things that hasn't happened yet. And then, I've always wanted to put together like a proper party and do it
Well,
up for, one of these reasons, but I will have to do it with
You have to. A proper party is loads of fun, but just the public tours are great. And when we're, back to running at capacity, we'll be doing 7 days a week, 12, 2, and 4. That's sort of our peak summer hours that we're hoping to get back to soon.
And you have 2 sharks, right?
We do have 2 sharks. The public tours pick up right down on Cabrillo and Chapala, right across from the Veterans Memorial Building. And you just show up and you just get your tickets when you get on board. So it's real simple. And again, it's a lot of fun. And you will probably learn something.
Oh, I bet, because you're telling, I always hear you going by, doing the tour and, saying something about whether it's the courthouse or, something downtown. So, and a lot of people
definitely, Robin. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's just a lot of fun. I've been aboard one of your holiday cruises around town where you see all the holiday lights, and you find all the spots throughout town just to show off all the holiday lights. So it is a lot of fun, Robin. I highly recommend.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hopping
I need
aboard
to
the
do it.
Land
I
Shark
can't
for sure.
believe it's just hasn't happened yet, but I certainly need to do it. I have been recently with my family for on the Double Dolphin. We did a 70th birthday party for my partner's dad, and the whole family came out from all over the US, and that was super fun. So done that. Good. So we need to do the next version on the Land Shark. So cool.
That's the wonderful thing about Santa Barbara. There's so many wonderful things I still haven't done. I've been here since '89, and it's just like, oh, I haven't done that yet. I've got to get up to the botanical gardens or Lotus Land or some of these silly things. It's just like, really, you haven't been there?
Got to be a tourist in our own town. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Sure.
I know. Definitely.
And Maddy, how far out does the Land Shark go into the sea, or does it stay into the harbor?
Oh no, we get out of the harbor. It kind of depends on what we see. If we see a whale or some dolphins, we'll go out a little farther. We'll go anywhere from a quarter to a half mile offshore.
Okay.
You have to see Santa Barbara from the water, because it is a different view of Santa Barbara.
It really is.
It really is. It's so true. I think for anyone who's a local and who has not seen the mountains and the cliffs from a ways off, it's just like, I live there. Oh my.
Yeah. No, it is. It's really spectacular with the St. As Mountains at 4,300 feet dropping down with the Riviera and the palm trees, the tile roofs, the Stearns Wharf, and it's pretty magical. So,
well, Maddy, why don't you tell us just a few of the fun facts that you share with people when you're going around town that you might not know about?
Well, that the courthouse was the county jail for many years up until 1971. People used to commit crimes so they could spend the night there.
Nice.
And then I say I had to spend 3.5 hours there myself, but I was on jury duty. I didn't do anything.
Sure. Come on, let's hear the real story.
And Stearns Wharf is the oldest and longest wooden pier on the West Coast. That's another fun one. The Presidio Chapel is the oldest church in Santa Barbara.
Wow.
Not everybody knows that.
I know that.
And then, of course, I point out my favorite places for refreshment. And of course, the Maritime Museum and the Santa Barbara Sailing Center.
Thank you.
Very cool. Well, as we start to wrap up the show, what else should people know about your businesses, things that are coming up? Skip, tell us, maybe, do you still have spaces open for your summer camps? Is that still something people can sign up for, or Greg?
We do, yeah. Yeah, we do have spaces on our summer camp, our Sipping on the Sea Music on the Water those fill up very, very quickly. And so I encourage you to get your tickets as soon as possible. But we're open. We're open. We pretty much are open until, you know, we're closed New Year's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day. So we're open as long as we're able to stay open. So come on down.
Awesome.
The waterfront is such a beautiful place. I mean, from walking out on the breakwater to viewing the Maritime Museum. Greg, I'm so glad you talked about the top floor of the Maritime Museum.
Not
The viewing
everybody
up
knows
there is,
about that spot.
yeah,
It's like the
no,
best
it's just,
kept
it's such a
secret in town.
sweet spot. I mean, if I was the director of the waterfront, I would make that my office personally. I mean, I got a great office floating on the water myself. But that is such a beautiful spot at the top of the Maritime Museum. There's 2 new restaurants, Chomp, that's gone in,
Right, they've
and they've remodeled
upstairs.
the
It
whole
looks
place.
beautiful.
And yeah, the owner there has done a phenomenal job. So I encourage you to come down to either some drinks on the terrace with Greg, and then jump up and grab some food at Chomp. Or, I mean, there's Brophy's, there's sushi, there's On the Alley. We have an amazing fish market down at the Ways,
Right.
which is so great. Our Saturday morning fish market. We're the only floating fish market on the West Coast. Even Seattle doesn't have this. I mean, you know, you got Pike's Market, but which is pretty awesome. But I mean, you can go down to the boats and buy your fish right from the fishermen every Saturday morning. I think that kicks off around 6:30 every morning. I've been trying to get farmers market. I know it's a big topic of where they want to go, but frankly, they should be going up the beach. I mean, we've got the big parking lot of City College that's empty every Saturday. And if we
Not a
put
bad
the
idea.
farmers market right on the beach there off of Ledbetter, would be a great spot for the farmers. People could park, get their fresh fish and their produce, and take a stroll down Ledbetter. I mean, that says Santa Barbara all over it. So, but I encourage you to come down. The
Oh,
pier
yeah.
is amazing. The Sea Center out there is wonderful, and it's just, I mean, our whole waterfront. We're really fortunate that we have this here, and it's stepping across Cabrillo Boulevard into the waterfront. It's like you've gone into just a different little world. If you're going to go swim at Los Baños pool, or you're going to cruise around the harbor and check out boats and goofy names of people's different boats, it's just
That is
a
a fun
fun
thing
activity
to do, to like
Yeah.
think about what you would name your boat. I have a silly name that I had a boat in Chautauqua Lake in New York State, and we never named it, but we came up with the most absurd names. One that I can't talk about because it's so inappropriate, but it's
You're right.
like,
Those are the names
But-
you want to hear. Come on,
exactly.
Robin.
I know, exactly. But I wanted to ask you, Skip, what about certification courses? How often do those take place for people who heard you speak earlier and are like, ooh, I really should sign up for a certification so that I can travel the world on a boat? What should people expect on that?
Again, our schedule's all online. We've really just pivoted onto this online platform, which has been really, really nice. So they can see the schedule online right now, and you can pick an existing class. If the dates don't work for you, please let us know, and we'll try to create a class. We can get an instructor and a boat. We'll form a class around your schedule as well. We're very accommodating. Of course, we do private lessons, but our classes are only up to 4 students. We really want to make sure every individual on board has enough time of being a captain, a crew, delegating, and experience all the different things that they're going to learn in each different class level. So
That's wonderful.
so yeah,
It's making me curious about doing something like that. My partner would just eat that up. He would love to learn all of that stuff. Greg, tell us
We'd
anything
love
else
to have you.
you want to. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Greg, tell us a little more about, what else people should know. I know there's that fun event where you make a cardboard kayak. Do you expect that to be able to come back this year?
Not this year, the cardboard kayak races, and it may change a little bit. Yeah, that was fun. That's always a great event. So yeah, I think, well, first of all, you can always sign up for our emails and get our updates on our website, sbmm.org, right at the bottom of the page, and learn what's going on kind of every other week or so, get our updates. And like the cardboard kayak race, I'd say the Maritime Museum has something for everyone. It's all ages. So we have a lot of great children's area. We have had to close a few things off because it's very hands-on and for COVID, but we still have a lot of great things for kids to do and for whole families to do together. But also all ages really can enjoy the museum. There's interest everybody from the art exhibits, the rotating art exhibits we have, to, the working periscope to look through the harbor. I just think it has something of interest for all different kinds because it's such a varied maritime history. And Skip's right. I mean, it's always great to be down here in the harbor. It doesn't matter the weather. I love the foggy days more than the sunny days, but people tend to just come down here when it's sunny. But there's so many restaurants. Salty at the Beach is the other new one with Chomp in our building. And then we have a little toot where you can go across the Stearns Wharf.
Right, the little toot. Tell people about that.
So that's very inexpensive, and they leave from right in front of our door out the channel. Once on one of their routes going out or coming back, they go around one of the buoys where there's usually no guarantees, but usually seals and sea lions out there all the time. I'm sure the land shark sees them out there, which is, I'm going to say, you maybe go out a half mile, but you're going to probably see marine life in that little distance. And then they stop off at Stearns Wharf, and so I always tell people the perfect day is come visit the Maritime Museum, we'll shoot over to Stearns Wharf, go to Sea Center, and maybe stop for some wine or some food somewhere along the way. That's what I would do anyway. And then with all the boats and Double Dolphin going out for a sail and just kayaking, this is an amazing area. It really is. And Skip's right, that fourth floor is the best view. I tried to make that my office for some reason.
But if you're a volunteer, you get to make it your office, which is so cool.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had former commandants of the training center, the Navy Reserve Building, who that was their office, and that's always. And it has tile work upstairs. I should mention it shows the Chumash Rainbow Bridge story, which is really special.
Oh, that's really awesome. Well, thank you, Greg. Anything, Maddie, you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up and talk about next week's show?
I would just love to encourage anybody, especially if you have not been on the Land Shark, to join us for a public tour. We hope to be running 7 days a week, coming up soon, hopefully in June. And also book a private charter. It's just a fun way. It's great for local businesses. People are itching now to get out and do stuff. So, book a private party. You can bring food and drinks on. It's a lot of fun. And also, Skip mentioned the Christmas lights, which we did not get to do last year. That's going to be a biggie this year. So, and that's one thing that the Double Dolphin can't do.
No, we parade of lights, but we can't touch the Christmas lights on that. Yes. So no, definitely.
Well,
thank you, ladies.
This has been a super fun conversation. Thank you. I'm going to hand it back over to Emily to introduce our next show and wrap us up here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. It's been such a good reminder just to not get stuck on land, get out there and see the ocean. And I had the pleasure of actually going out to the Santa Cruz Island a couple weekends ago, and I ran into a super pod of dolphins, which was an incredible experience. Super pod means that there's at least 1,000 dolphins swimming all together. So those things exist, like just off the shore.
That's epic. Good reminders.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. Well, thank you all for being here. Next week at 3 p.m., we're going to do home and garden theme. So we're going to have 747 Designs, Idle Mercantile, and Italian Pottery Outlet all on here chatting about their businesses. And next week also the Independence Home and Garden special section is coming out. So if you're looking for garden inspiration or home decor inspiration, now that we're all spending more time in our houses, be sure to pick up that issue and tune in next week for that spotlight.
Wonderful. And then lastly, if you are curious about any other downtown business, you can go to our website at downtownsb.org. We've got itineraries for all kinds of different things, craft beer trails, wine trails, and interviews with now over 30 6 business owners since last week, and we've got more next week. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for this great conversation. We will see you all out on an ocean adventure soon. All right, we'll see you guys later. Thanks.
Bye, ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.